Sprawling metropolis of nearly 3 million people is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. It has a variety of modern architectural structures, among them the Astrodome, completed in 1965. Love Ya Blue became the theme for pro football's Houston Oilers, led by all-world running back Earl Campbell. And how about the exciting Houston Astros, who captured the National League West Division this past year? But most recently, Houston has become famous for its country and western nightclubs, where they dance the Cotton Eye Joe and Texas Two Steps. Houston, the site for today's Pro Bowlers Tour. Live for the 20th consecutive year, ABC Sports presents the Pro Bowlers Tour. Today, the finals of the $131,000 BPAA United States Open, as these top 5 bowlers compete for the $21,000 first prize. In 5th place from Springfield, Oregon, seeking his 3rd PBA title, Bill Coleman. In 4th place from Santa Rosa, California, the 1974 United States Open champion, Larry Loud. In 3rd place from Medford, Oregon, the 1981 leading money winner, Marshall Holman. In 2nd place from Vancouver, USA, the colorful Ernie Schlegel. And the leader from Spring Lake Heights, New Jersey, seeking his first United States Open title, Mark Roth. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, live, we are at the Big Texan Lanes, largest bowling establishment in the huge state of Texas. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Schenkel. Glad to have you with us. The United States Open, sponsored by the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, an organization concerned about the business and economic welfare of the bowling industry. And boy, they take good care of 4,100 members, and they represent 86,500 bowling lanes. You probably bowl at a member BPAA establishment. Well, this is the first of our Triple Crown of bowling. The first leg, the United States Open, later the PBA National Championship at Toledo, and then in April, the famous Firestone Tournament of Champions. Well, the winner in 1978 of the United States Open was a fellow from St. Louis. Today, he's got on a black hat, but I can tell you this, that he's a good guy. Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris. And with me is Mark Roth. Mark has won just about everything in the game of bowling, dominated the last 5 years, won 24 PBA titles, but Mark is yet to win a major title. And Mark, is there any particular reason you've never caught a major?
Well, Bo, I never got to a championship match in a major title in the last couple of years, and this is the first time I have a chance to win one, so today I have just one game to bowl.
How about a psychological block, Mark? Never won one, and really it's got to be your goal to win a major.
It is my goal, but it's no psychological block.
Well, Cowboy Chris, Mark thinks he can do it this week. We'll see later on.
Sets the pace in pickups. And now during the Big 81 Explorer sale, you can get discounts of up to $600 off America's best-selling pickup trucks when you buy all these great options, including two-tone paint, special interiors, factory air conditioning, tilt steering wheel, automatic transmission, sporty wheel covers, and more. Right now, get the specially equipped Ford Explorer and get up to $600 off.
Come in now and check out the deals during your Ford dealer's big leadership celebration.
Big's Formula 44D, please.
Helen, with this nasty cough plus congestion, I need...
Formula 44D.
But, Helen, I need a decongestant, not just strong cough medicine.
You need Formula 44D. It's strong like Formula 44. Has the strongest non-narcotic cough suppressant you can buy. Plus ingredients to help unstuff your nose and loosen up for chest congestion.
That's what I said. Formula 44D. Strong for coughs plus congestion.
There go your auto insurance rates. Because most insurers won't forgive even one accident that's your fault. But Kemper will. Count on the cavalry. If you've been with Kemper through 5 years of safe driving, your first at-fault accident won't mean a rate increase. To get first accident forgiveness, call out the cavalry. Once you compare Kemper, you'll ride with us.
In the prestigious United States Open, a total of $131,000. First prize, $21,000 today, $11,000 the runner-up, $7,500, $6,000, and $5,000 for the man that finishes fifth. 5 great bowlers about to compete. And in our first match, all West Coast, Bill Coleman from Oregon. He is on the right going against Californian Larry Loud. First match head-to-head, and you know the format by now as we're in our 20th year on the Professional Bowlers Tour. If you win, you advance. And Bill Coleman, who has 2 PBA titles in his 10-year membership of the PBA, would like to get another one today. He'll be shooting first left lane. Leaving the 4-7, Bo.
Chris, the TV pair today is almost identically the same. One lane is breaking not much more than the other. The lanes are in excellent shape. Scores have been about average all week, 215 to 220, and both these players from the West Coast have had good success on this pair, with Coleman averaging 223 and Lobb 222.
4-7. Well done. So, Bill Coleman marks with a spare in the very first frame. It's always good to have Larry Loud on our telecast. It's been a while. Holder of 12 PBA titles. He's shooting first on the right lane. So Larry gets the first strike of our live show. Last year wasn't so good for Larry, so he's had a turnaround, and we asked him about it.
And this year?
Well, I use a video a lot, and last year I couldn't pick it up. I was forcing my arm from the top of the backswing down through the stroke, and for some reason I couldn't pick it up, and I finally caught it at the end of last year, and I've been bowling good ever since.
Larry Loud, 37 years old, from Santa Rosa, California. Little chuckle as the audio you heard at home, the answer to the question, Larry Loud, coming over in the PA system here in a packed house. So Larry Loud is open with a double.
Chris, both these players have met each other many times, both living on the West Coast, both with the just medium hook and easy, smooth style.
And smooth Bill Coleman with a strike on the right lane. Last time you saw him on our telecast on the Professional Bowlers Tour was in Peoria last year, where he finished second to Joe Hutchinson. This year, 45th in the Miller High Life Classic, 10th in the Showboat Invitational, 45th last week at the Forum, the Quaker State Open. Now he needs a double. And he gets it. Oh, they're fired up for the United States Open. It's a great titled game.
Here's a shot for Bill Coleman from the back of the lanes. He's playing it right around the third arrow, the ball, the inside line, and it was an excellent shot, solid in the pocket. Shows the flexibility of these bowling lanes. Larry Loud, the outside line, Bill Coleman, the inside line.
Oh, a high hit.
And as we know, the outside line gives you the big carry. You carry the off hit, the light hit, but the danger is the ball cutting through the pins very sharply at the back end and getting a disastrous split. Lob just let that hook a little too much, has the 4-6-10.
Way to the left of center. And wisely covered the 6-10, and it's 55 for Larry Loud. 15-pin trailing now by that margin, with that open in the third. Well, he'll go over to the left lane, Bo, and the great pro that he is will try to come back.
Lob with as good of stroke, just pure natural stroke, as any player on the tour. Doesn't use much muscle, all stroke and timing.
All but the 10-pin on the left lane. The 6-footer, 37 years old. 74 was a great year for this Californian. He's finished second in the money standings and won 3 titles, including the United States Open. All right, this is the first match here at the Big Texan Lanes. The winner to meet Marshall Holman. Later, Mark Roth will return in a minute.
Excuse me. I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. Do you know that light's got a third less calories than a regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else...
Inside Firestone's newest 721 radial are 2 belts of steel cord. In each cord, 10 strands of high-strength steel. 7 strands around 2, wrapped by 1. 721. Because it's a metric radial, it can use more air, so you use less gas. We call it the Fuel Fighter, designed to save you more gas than any steel-belted radial tire Firestone has ever built. Firestone's newest 721, the Fuel Fighter.
Next, the National Figure Skating Championships. Who will be America's next Queen of the Ice? And an investigative report on the hottest story in sports, the Harold Smith Maps controversy, on ABC's Wide World of Sports, next.
Don't forget, coming up next, all the beauty, grace, and music of the U.S. National Figure Skating Championships and an investigative report on the Harold Smith Maps boxing scandal. We're live in Houston, Texas. You're looking at Bill Coleman, who now has a 15-pin lead. The split was averted, leaving the 6-10. He had a double working for him. So his lead cut to 13 pins, and now he'll try to cover the 6-10 on the right lane. Bill won his second PBA title last summer when he defeated Wayne Webb in the Columbia 300 Open. Now for the spare. Okay. There you see the 13-pin difference between these two professionals. Now, this is the first match head-to-head. The loser is out. The winner advances, and he'll meet Marshall Holman. Winner of that match going against Ernie Schlegel. And then our tournament leader is Mark Roth. 5th frame. 3rd strike and 5, and with a striking young lady, here is Nelson Burton.
And with me is the wife of Larry Loud. And Pam, you're out here on the tour all the time with Larry. And what's it like for a wife on the tour? And really the reason why are you out here?
Well, Bo, I'd like to say that aside from our commitment to God, our commitment is to our family. And Larry and I both feel very strongly that our family does come first. I see he's having trouble over there. And I'm really hurting for him now. But we really feel that traveling in the motorhome and having our daughter with us at all times is really important to keep us together and to keep our family together, and that's first in my heart. I'd like to say hi, Mom.
Pam, it sounds like the ideal situation. Back to you, Chris.
258. And Pam's husband, Larry, a little faint-hearted at the line because he didn't think he'd get the sleeper 8 in that combination here on the right lane. But Larry Laub marked to the spare in the 5th frame, now trailing by 16. He'll be shooting in the 6th. Opened up with a double, had an open, losing the lead then to his opponent, Bill Coleman. Leaving a 4-7.
If there's any one thing that Larry struggles with is its ball speed. As you see from this back shot here, Larry strokes the ball, nice straight swing. He's playing right around the first arrow, about the 7th board on the lane. But the ball breaks very sharply at the back end, and what he needs to do is a little more ball speed or a little more loft.
So the lifetime resident of the San Francisco Bay Area, Larry Loud, trails by 18, marking with a spare. In the 6th frame. Okay, Big Bill Coleman, 6'2", 205 pounds, 38 years old. Got on the tour, and Janelle Coleman watching. Sliding by the pocket, leaving the 2-4-5, 7-8.
And on that particular shot, Bill Coleman let that right shoulder drop too far and didn't get the leverage to make the ball finish at the back end. It's more important to keep your shoulders level when you're playing inside than it is the outside line like Lob. Now, Coleman looking down at the center of the lane, he's going to stand on about the 25th board or just slightly left of center and try to cover the half rack, 2-4-5, 7-8.
And that's what happened. So it's an open frame, and the lead has been cut to 6. Check that profile, Bo.
Powerful Bill Coleman, very short backswing. He's an accurate player with that backswing, and he has a short follow-through, not quite all the way through. But on that particular shot, he didn't get the lift underneath the ball. As you saw, his right shoulder drop, and he left that half, missed the spare, and now he only leads by 6.
7th frame. Again, averting the split. It's a 4-7 on the left lane. This is the United States Open, the first of bowling's Triple Crown. PBA National Championship in Toledo later on, and right down at the end of our winter tour, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Those are the big 3, Bo, and I know you're proud of that U.S. Open win in '78.
I'd like to get a National or a Firestone this year.
Okay. So in a very close first match, only 6 pins separating these two professionals. We'll take a pause.
Today, bowling's more fun than ever, especially with AMF Magic Score. You knock them down, Magic Score adds them up. So this weekend, why not bring a friend bowling? You'll enjoy it even more with AMF Magic Score.
How do you grow a great cigar? Master planter Ralph Merrill knows. Plant special Dutch Masters tobacco seedlings in a fertile valley. Control the searing sun with clouds of special cloth. And wait. Now select only the best leaves and harvest them all by hand. That's how Ralph Merrill grows a great cigar. Like the Dutch Masters president, there really are masters at Dutch Masters.
Tomorrow on the Superstars, oldies but goodies.
Not too bad for an old man.
Like Dick Butkus, Bobby Hull, Dave Cowens, and Frank Robinson. A lineup to rival any Hall of Fame on the Superstars tomorrow.
2 distinguished members of the American Bowling Congress Hall of Fame. Bill Bunetta on the left, Bill Lillard on the right. And what a pleasure way back to have worked with these 2 tremendous bowlers, Nelson.
And Chris, Bill Bunetta's son rolled a 300 game in the Pro-Am Sunday in the tournament, so he's got another Lillard on the way up.
Super bowler Larry Loud. And here in the 7th frame, Larry Loud with a spare up, marks with a strike. He said he was super, and don't forget tomorrow, 2 Eastern, 1 Central, and Pacific. Lineup to rival any Hall of Fame in Superstars. Dick Butkus, Bobby Hull, Dave Cowens, Frank Robinson, Rick Barry, and Oscar Robinson. Tremendous.
Bob can take the lead with a double here in the 8th frame. Trails by 6, can take a 4-pin lead.
And Larry Loud does just that. And the winner to meet Marshall Holman, who's been on, will have been when he bowls in the next game, 4 of our 5 telecasts. The tournament leader, Mark Roth, has been on all 4. And Bill Coleman leaving the 10-pin, 135 through the 7th.
Sam Zurich, alternate, Chris, another one of Frank Esposito's bowlers that bowls at that famous Paramus Lanes.
Fine young man and great future.
I think so. You'll hear a lot of Sam.
Spare in the 8th frame for Bill Coleman. He and his wife Janelle, whom you saw a little earlier, mother and father of 2 children, William David and Matthew.
Chris, Bill Coleman, known for his clutch bowling. When he won the Las Vegas tournament a couple years back on our telecast, he did it in the 10th frame. Once again, he's up there in the 9th in a crucial situation.
Like you said, Coleman, who this week in grueling competition averaged over 217. Here's Larry Loud, an average of 217. Now he has a double working, big 9th frame. So it's a 15-pin lead now by Larry Loud with that strike in the 9th.
Loud, one of the purest strokers that ever played the game of bowling, just let that go as nice and as smooth and relaxed as you possibly can. You saw the result, the 6 taking out the 10. He's in a situation now with a strike. He can shut out Bill Coleman with 1 strike here in the 10th. He has 3 working. A 4-bagger would shut out Bill Coleman.
And the pressure was on Larry Loud, who in the decade of the 70s was only topped in money earned by Mark Roth and Earl Anthony.
Tremendous stroke, lob, good in the clutch, but when he needs it, he's always there. He has shut out Bill Coleman, and I'll tell you, Lob is a man to be contended with. When he gets it going, he is tremendous. He can shoot scores with that nice smooth stroke that nobody can keep up with, so he should really be tough in the next match against Marshall Holman.
High on the head pin, leaving the 3-6. Gets the applause from the standing room only crowd, and the big Texan, Larry Loud, now will face Marshall Holman, a very determined Marshall Holman at 26 years of age. And of course, you know, Marshall won last week the Quaker State Open, so Larry Loud will have to contend with Marshall, who really wants to go into the finals and meet his nemesis, Mark Roth. 218 for Larry Loud. So don't go away. We're live in Houston, Texas on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Loud against Holman next.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less. By Ford and your local Ford dealer, who invite you to test drive the new 1981 Ford cars and trucks, including Escort, the new world car from Ford. And by Napa and your local Napa Auto Parts store, your headquarters for top quality auto parts. When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
All right, our next match on the right, that's Marshall Holman. And Bill Coleman has just finished. He scored a 201 to Loud's 218. Holman against the winner, Loud. The Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
You want your import car to run its best. So insist on top quality Napa brand parts. The trusted name in domestic parts is now the name to trust in import parts. When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
My name is Mike Withers. I'm a State Farm insurance agent in Rockland, California, speaking for thousands of State Farm agents all over the country. We have various reasons why we think State Farm has maintained a reputation and people keep coming back to us year after year. My personal belief is that it's the service. We deliver when the policyholder has a problem. We sell on that basis and we deliver on that basis, and people keep coming back.
State Farm is there.
Cal Trask, who searched for his mother only to find her somewhere east of Eden.
Taste the high country. Taste the high country.
Once you taste the high country, no downstream beer will do. Coors is brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water and its own special high country barley.
It's no downstream beer. It's no city beer. It's Coors.
Taste the high country. Climb up to Coors. It's all for you and me.
I understand that, for example, in a restroom, you will not touch the doorknob with your hands.
No, I'm not that crazed, but I am conscious of the fact that dirty hands, and usually the worst germs is always on that doorknob, you know. Which
You and me and
KTNV TV Las Vegas.
Larry Loud of Santa Rosa, California, defeating Bill Coleman 218 to 201. Bill Coleman leaving the United States Open with $5,000. Now, in our second match live and head-to-head, Larry Loud against Marshall Holman from Medford, Oregon. And Marshall will shoot first on the left lane using all the approach. And colorful Marshall opens with a strike.
When you're hot, you're hot. Marshall won the Quaker State Open last week, but I think he really has a tough opponent here in Lobb. When Lobb gets it going, wins that first match, loosens up like he is now, he can really knock down some big scores.
High hit, but gets them all. So our match is even after one frame. Larry Loud with 6 strikes in the first game, a victory over Bill Coleman, 218 to 201. Now moving over on the left side of our championship pair, here at a bowling establishment called Big Texan, Houston. Man with an early release, doubles, and he is hot.
Lobb, the down-the-line bowler, or with the boards. Depends on the stroke. Marshall Holman, the power player, will play a slightly different line, a little more towards the center of the lane, and swing the ball out to about the same point as Lobb, and then hook it back sharply.
All right, all even after 2 frames. We said that Marshall uses all of the approach, and earlier we asked him about it and why.
I need the long approach for momentum. I'm a small man, 5'9", about 145, 150 pounds. Need that added approach to get the ball speed, to get the power, to knock those pins down.
He's a fine communicator, Marshall Holman. Very bright young man. Can bowl, too. 3 in a row here in our second match. The winner to meet, wait till you see what he's wearing today. Ernie Schlegel.
And you saw Marshall Holman take advantage of the very light pins. He uses that power ball and just scramble them off the sideboard. Lobb has a double working, can even the match with another strike.
Well, this is what we enjoy. Perfection. And these professionals on tour, they really show it to you. Lobb now with 3 in a row.
The big tournaments, he has 2 of the greatest players in the game of bowling out there. Holman and Lobb, all even through 3.
Field of 240 started. Pam watching her husband. And now Larry Loud has a 4-bagger to his opponent's 3 in a row. Can they continue it? We'll find out. But first, this message.
There's Dan and Ellen Fields. He's editor of our local newspaper. He looks worried about his problem dandruff. I wish he'd ask me.
Mr. Owens, what shampoo should Dan use for his problem dandruff?
Ellen, how about Tegrin?
It works on itching and flaking?
In a national survey, 3 out of 4 dermatologists judge Tegrin's medication effective in fighting even problem dandruff.
Let's try it out.
Oh, how's Dan's problem dandruff?
Tegrin's terrific news, Mr. Owens.
Prove it to yourself. Tegrin works.
I'll tell you, I was a born soccer player. Did everything with my feet. Took out the rubbish with my feet, made the bed with my feet, drove my mum crazy. But I finally found something I enjoy doing with my hands, drinking light beer from Miller. Light has 1/3 less calories than the regular beer. It's less filling. But what really makes me happy is the taste. It's terrific. Now, my mum should be happy too. Look, Mum, no feet.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Next, the National Figure Skating Championships. Who will be America's next Queen of the Ice? And an investigative report on the hottest story in sports, the Harold Smith Maps controversy, on ABC's Wide World of Sports, next.
That's right, don't forget next, U.S. National Figure Skating Championships. And Nelson, I gotta say, the prettiest of all the ABC commentators joins our ranks, Peggy Fleming. And then investigative reports by Howard Cosell, Harold Smith, Maps, boxing scandal, and Marshall Holman's string is stopped at 3, leaving the 10 pin on the right lane.
The weak hitter, the soft 10. Watch the second pin on the right-hand part of your screen, the 6 pin. It goes into the channel, but doesn't quite have the impetus to drive into the 10. When a player can carry that shot, he has them all down perfect.
Ooh, just got it. 11 pins now separating these 2 professionals. kidding Marshall and Mark Roth that this is their show with a supporting cast of Larry Loud, Bill Coleman, and Ernie Schlegel.
Here's a man that wants to change it around, Larry Loud. 4 in a row.
No, it did not come up.
You can see by the trajectory of the ball, Holman is a touch player. Watch this shot here. He's playing towards the center of the lane, starts the ball in the heavier concentration of conditioner right there in the center of the lane, where the lane is a little slicker, then breaks it very sharply at the back end. When he gets it wide, though, the 2-8-10 is a split often left by a cranker or a power player like Marshall. Got a good break.
And chops the 2 off the 8, and quickly Loud goes out to a 24-pin lead. But remember, he has a 4-bagger shooting in the 5th frame. Solid 7.
Larry Loud with that smooth, methodical release. He gets his thumb out of the ball very quickly and rolls it right at the foul line. He looks like everyone else when he comes right to the line, but watch this ball at the point of release. Right behind the foul line, thumb out early, but a nice, smooth follow through. Look at that extension and arm swing.
And just as smooth and making spares. Spare in the 5th frame, a 23-pin lead. If you just joined this man at whom you're looking, Larry Loud, defeated Bill Coleman 218 to 201. He had 6 strikes in that victory. He opened here with 4.
You saw the 56-game format, Chris, the long format. Roth led all the way, all 7 rounds.
High hit, gets by with it, and leaves the 6.
As they say on the tour, justice. Lob threw the ball perfect in the 5th frame, left a solid 7 here. He pulls the ball a little bit, almost leaves a 6-7-10, gets a good break, only the 6-pin. Routine, easy spare for a pro.
There it is. After 4 strikes, pair of spares for Loud here in our 2nd game. The winner to meet Ernie Schlegel, the winner of that semifinal match to go against the tournament leader, Mark Roth. After an open, here's Holman. Okay, powerful strike for Holman.
The can opener, you just can't open him up any better than that. Holman hit in the light spot, but he had tremendous leverage on the ball, ripped him out, and he's brought himself down to where if he gets a double, he can close Lob's lead to just 12 pins. 7th frame.
Quickly set into the line. A 10.
Once again, the half 10, Chris, as we call it. That's where the 6-pin lays in the channel. The solid 10 is where you hit a little higher in the pocket and the 6-pin goes over the top of the 10. Holman around the pocket, but not quite solid enough. For his type of ball, you want to be perfectly solid or very light.
That's a spare for Marshall Holman in the 7th frame. And the 22-pin lead held by Larry Loud. We'll be back with more after this.
For a professional quality hammer at a homeowner's price, get this Master Mechanic curved claw hammer for just $4.99 as True Value Hardware Store's tool value of the month. This triple wedge holds the highly polished forged steel head securely in place, and the flame-treated smooth hickory handle provides a sure, comfortable grip. Get this professional quality Master Mechanic hammer for just $4.99 while supplies last at True Value Hardware Stores and home centers displaying this banner.
Camille White, University of Michigan. Heinrich Jekyll, Technical University of Graz. J. Sakioka. Ford engineers around the world created a world car, Ford Escort. With better gas mileage ratings than Volkswagen Rabbit, Honda Accord, Toyota Corolla hatchback. With front-wheel drive traction and 4-wheel independent suspension. And now, Ford Escort is outselling every imported car line in America. Ford Escort, built to take on the world and do it.
Join us next Saturday on the Pro Bowlers Tour for the $110,000 Rolaids Open, live from St. Louis, Missouri. Defending champion Alvin Liu and other top bowlers will vie for the $16,000 first prize. The Pro Bowlers Tour, live next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, exclusively on ABC.
We're live in Houston, Texas at the Big Texan Lanes for the Big United States Open, first of bowling's Triple Crown, followed by the PBA National Championship in Toledo, and then our last winter tour stop, the prestigious Firestone Tournament of Champions. Here is a great competitor. Leading by 22, spare up shooting in the 7th frame, going against Marshall Holman. A lot of fans here at in this capacity crowd.
The style of lob, the great push away. Watch this arm swing. From the top of the swing, you know exactly where the ball's going, and watch how straight it comes through. If anybody wants to practice an arm swing at home, learn that one. You can see his trajectory just inside the first arrow, and that's the reason he carried the 10 pin. He had the good angle of attack and carried the weak 10 or soft 10. That's been the difference so far in the match.
There it is, 6, 7, 10, Larry Loud. And Bo mentioned a mark, an arrow. A little bit later on, our Rolaids bowling tip of the week will be on exactly that, finding your mark. Bo will tell you more about it in the pros 10-to-1 shot that they can make the 6, 7, 10. So Larry Loud now, the lead now has been decreased to 10 pins, and Holman is up, a spare working, shooting in the 8th frame. Look out.
Chris, that's Holman's best shot, when he can keep it light and use his power. Now, he comes up in the 9th frame, he can get this match all even. He can tie lob up with just 2 frames to go. Watch him, what we say, amp it up or put the power to this one. Holman will depend on his greatest asset. That's his power in a crucial frame.
And the snow skier comes up with a big double. That last strike in the 9th frame, the match is all even.
And you could see him grimace as he let that ball go. And he knew he had it on that. It's just a matter of how much he was going to move those pins around. Watch this reaction. He knows it. Match is tied. Lob coming up in the 9th.
Right back with a pressure shot. Larry Loud. He started out in the Northern California Junior Leagues. So for you youngsters, remember you can do it too. Larry has done it. He set a PBA record in '74 by qualifying for a telecast 8 of the 14 tournaments.
It's like bowling a 1-frame match now. They're all even, 10th frame.
There's another one.
Pam Loud knows the score. The situation is this. Loud, no matter what he does, cannot shut out Holman. He can shoot 236. Holman can shoot 236. It's the man who can perform in the 10th. Loud already has the first one.
Every Saturday afternoon, excitement on the Pro Bowlers Tour. And then, disaster.
The 4-9, the left lane breaking a little sharper for Larry than the right-hand lane. He thought he had it, left the 4-9. Now Larry can either go for this, I think he will, to force Holman to get at least a strike and a 9 count. It's taking a little extra time. This is an important shot, even though it's a split on a fill ball.
Well, there is a 223 for Larry Loud. And now, Marshall Holman looking very careful at the score sheet held and marked by our tournament director for all these years, Harry Golden.
Holman in a must-strike situation. He has to strike on this ball or Lob's a winner.
Look at that reaction. Fierce. 5'9", 140-pound, 26-year-older from Medford, Oregon.
Holman, with all his power, has just strung 3 strikes together. Watch the pin action on this ball. The ball's not anywhere near to solid in the pocket, just devastates. The 6 blowing out the 10, the 5 and the 7, but the match is not over. Holman still needs at least 8 spare to win.
So that is the best way to do it. Marshall Holman, who opened with 3 in a row. His opponent, Laub, 4 in a row. Laub having defeated Coleman in the first match, 218 to 201. And here, Marshall Holman, who won last week, Grand Prairie, Texas, 9 strikes, 236 to Larry Laub's 223. A capacity crowd enjoying it along with you. And now Marshall Holman will have as his opponent in match number 3, colorful Ernie Schlegel from Vancouver, USA. He's welcoming him in now, putting the hex on him. We'll see what happens after this.
Can you see the difference between Firestone steel-belted Trax 12 and other all-season radials? Firestone has special traction bars for pulling power in snow, but they're hidden in the Trax 12 tread for smooth, quiet turnpike driving. Long-lasting Trax 12, the all-season steel-belted radial with traction you can see. Traction 12 months a year. Trax 12, Firestone's lowest-priced steel-belted white-wall radial.
You know people like me. We're young, ambitious. These are the uniforms we wear at work. But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the National Guard and the Reserves. You see, in the Guard and Reserves, you earn extra money. So you not only serve your country, you serve yourself. Yet while you serve, you can live at home and keep your full-time job. Because in the Guard and Reserves, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The National Guard and the Reserves. Talk to your local recruiter.
We've reached the point now of the semifinal. Laub, the winner of the first game, 218 to 201. Marshall Holman coming out of the wings, 9 strikes, 236 to Laub's 223. And now if you'll find 2 more colorful bowlers anywhere, we don't know where you'd find them, Schlegel and Holman next. And as ABC's Wide World of Sports continues its tradition of following the biggest sports stories as they occur, well, of course, always the National Figure Skating Championships, ladies and pairs competition, and then an investigative report by Howard Cosell on the hottest story in sports this week, the Harold Smith Maps Boxing Scandal. That'll be next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, and next on the Professional Bowlers Tour. 37-year-old Ernie Schlegel going against 26-year-old Marshall Holman. Holman, the winner of the last match, 236, 223, shoots first on the left lane. This is the United States Open. Bowling Professionals Association of America's sponsor. It was formerly the All-Star Tournament, which began in Chicago in 1942.
A rich tradition, Chris, and definitely one of the richest tournaments and one of the most prestigious on the tour. Ernie Schlegel has been bowling just sensational this year. As you can see, he's dressed a little differently than some of the other players.
And through those rose-colored glasses, along with you, he saw the 8th pin remain on the deck.
Ernie made the telecast in the final rounds of the Showboat Invitational. Did not bowl very well. He shot a 190 game. But on this particular pair of lanes during the week, he averaged a sensational 252. So he likes this pair.
And the man that's always done well in the U.S. Open has outdone himself with clothes.
Clothes I wear.
Well, the clothes I wear are very patriotic. They're red, white, and blue, and it pumps up me, and it's good for bowling, and It's good for bowling in the sense that I'm a personality, and my clothes stand out, and that's the way I want it to be. I want to stand out.
And the personality who bowls out of Vancouver, USA, Washington, situated near the Oregon border, a town of about 15,000. Schlegel with a strike in the second frame, and Holman is up.
Prowling around. You saw Schlegel get that light hit. He normally doesn't carry that swisher or rip hit but he has tremendous outside line, outside trajectory, letting the ball and the angle do most of the work. Holman 236 victory the first match, has a strike working.
All but the 4-pin. We mentioned the U.S. Open. The forerunner was the All-Star Tournament beginning in 1942, changed to the U.S. Open in 1971, and down the line, the younger greats have become the winners. And Holman looking for his first. He has the Firestone Tournament of Champions, and being a premier bowler is something Marshall likes.
Yeah, right now, Marsh?
Well, I think right now that Mark Roth and I are definitely bowling better than anybody else. I can't say I'm bowling better than Mark. I don't think Mark's bowling any better than I am. We're the two people that everybody comes out each week to beat, and we're here every week. What can I say?
Well, that's proof positive, Bo.
He's getting more relaxed out there. He's a very aggressive player, and he wants to be number one. Marshall Holman believes he's number one. He's had trouble defeating Mark Roth in past times, but last week he got by Roth, and this week he still has to get by Schlegel before he gets to Roth.
Everything but the 7-pin in the third frame for Holman. This is our semifinal game. The winner will meet Mark Roth, bowler of the year for 3 straight years until Wayne Webb took it away from him in 1980, but he is 4 for 4 in the 4 tournaments he's bowled this year. And then our television finals, and Holman 4 out of 5.
Ernie Schlegel, he's playing the outside line. He's using a hard rubber ball, about an 82 hardness. Marshall Holman's using a polyester or plastic ball with about a 78 hardness. The minimum for pros is 75. And naturally, the softer the ball, the more it breaks. Ernie wants something that goes down the line, will hold pocket, and that's why he's using the harder rubber ball. 2
PBA titles, but prior to winning them, he'd won more money than any non-winner in the history of professional bowling. Oh, he liked that. So that double puts him out to an 11-pin lead now here in the semifinal game. Let's watch it again.
Schlegel, an experienced player, has been bowling in top competition for more than 20 years, and he has the ideal style to prove it. Good arm swing, almost a straight lift through the ball, and today he's putting a little more turn on the ball. That's something he's always needed. I think that's one of the reasons he has failed to win in other appearances, and today he's using a little more hook, a little more wrist action.
5th in Las Vegas. Finished 2nd in the overall tournament here now. Bowling the number 3 seed in our live television finals, Holman. All right, Schlegel has strung 3 in this pivotal match, leading by 21. We'll return after this.
There's a company in Toledo, Ohio, who makes an amazing product for your car's engine. It can help improve your car's mileage, give you surer starts, even help your car run better. And the cost of a set is about the same as the price of an oil change. A revolutionary new device? No, it's a fresh Champion spark plug. There is probably nothing that can do so much for your car's engine for so little. Champion, the world's #1 seller.
Reunity, it tastes so fine. Reunity, pure and natural wine. Reunity on ice. Reunity, so nice. Reunity, ooh.
Reunity on ice. Red, white, and rosé. What a nice way to break the ice.
Reunity.
Ernie Schlegel's biggest rooter, his wife, Catherine DePace Schlegel. She is with him all the time. I think gives him some mental advice, but right now has to watch his opponent, Holman. That coming after a spare for Holman, shooting in the 4th frame. Winner will go against Mark Roth in the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, a membership that Nelson Burton Jr. once had along with his father, Hall of Famer, Sr. And there are 4,100 members in the United States and 8 foreign countries.
Holman with a chance to lead to cut the lead to 11.
Tough. Holman.
Chris, there's no love lost between these two players. Marshall Holman, a very aggressive player, and Ernie Schlegel's not going to back down from anyone. So they've had a few words even between commercials. And when you're bowling for as much money as these fellows are playing, they are out to win.
Holman trying to put the whammy on him, giving him the devil's horns as he came in view to start this match, but Schlegel has 3 in a row.
Contrasting styles. Holman, the positive power player. Schlegel, the very deliberate line ball player.
High hit leaving the 4-pin on the right lane.
You notice how Schlegel looks at the ball first and then at the last moment looks up to see his target. He has bad eyes or has trouble focusing down the lane, so he's found that if he just looks down at the ball, keeps his eyes down at the ball, and then at the last second looks down at the lane, he has a much better chance of seeing his spot.
And his hobby is psychology, so he tries a little of everything in trying to be the big winner. He has 2 PBA titles. He has a 10-pin lead now, as this is the semifinal. The final coming up, the winner of this match to meet Mark Roth. And the Rolaids tip of the week with Nelson Burton, JR, will be coming up.
And it'll be finding your spot, Chris. And as we see, Schlegel, his spot's the outside line around the first arrow, Holman around the second arrow, whatever fits your game.
Leaving the 10-pin.
This week, Sam Zurich, just missed. Steve Martin, who won our first telecast. Jay Robinson, who had his ball stowing during the finals. Bill Spigner, Al Stoneman in there. Del Warren, his 2nd time. Guppy Troop, steady as ever with his new pro shop. Mike Haynes, Gip Lentini, who was later last year at the Rolaids. Tommy Crest, whose father in Rochester is watching him. And the only amateur to make the top 24 finished 18th. As you saw, Pete Weber's son was in there also.
And now in a tight match with a spare, 9-pin lead held by Ernie Schlegel, who now can rest. Holman is up, can take the lead with a strike, has a double working, shooting in the 6th frame. All right, we have a new leader by 1 pin.
Aggressive Marshall Holman. Watch the release on this ball. The good smooth arm swing, shoulder level, but inside out. Tremendous wrist action. You notice how he had his wrist cupped at the point of release and just let the thumb come out and the wrist snap up through the ball. That's where you get the maximum power. Arm close to your body and use that wrist action. Holman leads by 1, can extend his lead to 11.
Thanks for the tip, Bo. Well, all kinds of strikes. Little release of tension.
Now watch the power here. Look at that, ball's out on the 5th board, 10 feet from the pocket. The head pin goes to the sideboard, knocks the 4 into the 10, and the head pin comes back. The 5 swished through the 7. What a shot.
This proves that the bowling ball doesn't hit that many pins, right, Nelson?
That's right, Chris, but and it's also very discouraging to your opponent, Ernie Schlegel, down there shaking his head. When you can overpower the pins in the lane like that, very great psychological advantage.
7th frame, spare working. All but the 7.
See Ernie talking to himself. He let that shot of Holman get to his own personality. He started that ball right towards the nose. Got a good break, only left the 7-pin.
And of course, Marshall Holman. He keeps talking off to his right. Masters of psychology. Watch him at the line here on this spare. Is it coming up a little bit, though?
Well, he's having some trouble with his hands. Holman is just an aggressive player, and I think Schlegel, as we've noticed in other performances, when he has trouble in the later frames of the match, he starts pulling up at the line, and he feels like he's losing the ball off his thumb. He's cleaned his thumb hole, but actually it's because he pulls up too quickly.
Superstars tomorrow, what a lineup. Butkus, Hull, Cowens, Robinson, followed by International Boxing, Zapata, Olivo, World Light Flyweight Championship bout, then the Super Bikers from Carlsbad, and more of the National Figure Skating Championships Sunday. 10-pin.
Ernie got it back together on that shot. It was as good a shot as he's thrown in the whole match. Unfortunately, he left the solid 10 with the 6 flying around the 10. But as long as he's regained his composure, he's only trailing by 13. 8th frame. Ernie, an excellent spare shooter. If there's any one thing he does as good as anybody in the game of bowling is cover those spares with that line straight ball.
Consistency, Ernie Schlegel. 13 pins, and Holman now can add to it. He has a 4-bagger working. 8th frame. Next to last match live from Houston. Just turning it a little more, Nelson.
Chris, we saw Holman last week. He almost, what we say, kind of backed into the title a little bit. He struggled in the last 3 or 4 frames, but he still won. And as Earl Anthony had said before we went on the air last week, Marshall Holman has as much talent as any player in the game of bowling. It's a matter of having him apply it. This year, he's in tremendous physical shape, trained all year long, and he's applying it to everyone right now.
Leaving the 10 on the left lane. And there he is, Mark Roth. Perfect thus far this year. Only competed in 4. He's been on our telecast 4 times. A big win in Las Vegas.
Situation becomes this. Marshall Holman's working at a 2:38 pace. Ernie Schlegel with a strike in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th could go 2:36. The situation will become definitely a must-strike situation at 10th, but he'd love to set up the 1 to 9th. Taking a little extra time. I think if Ernie's made any improvement in his game to really help him, he takes less time than he used to, and he keeps his muscles looser.
So that foundation strike for 37-year-old Ernie Schlegel. These are our next 4 stops. The Rolaids Open in St. Louis. Well, we'll get to see Dick Weber and his partner.
And then we go to Peoria for the AMF Magic Score. Then on to Cleveland. Then we see Bob Rakoff at the PBA National Championship at Imperial Lanes in Toledo.
And we return to Toledo, Ohio.
One of the great bowling centers in the country.
Getting a re-rack here, Bo. Bo, these names, a lot of bowlers remember. Winners of the All-Star Tournament, the 4-winner to the United States Open. Ned Day, Buddy Bomar, Andy Verapapa, Junie McMahon, Dick Hoover, Junie McMahon again, Carter about 4 times, Bill Lillard, who's here today. Oh, we go down the line, Bob Strampy, Jim Stefanich, Hardwick Cooper, and our former broadcasting partner, native of Houston, the late Billy Whalou, won it in 1959.
Truly one of the great players of all time. Schlegel must strike. If he doesn't strike, Holman wins. He's still in it.
Amazing how they come up with the important strikes.
The good swing, the good angle of Ernie Schlegel. Right down the first arrow. You saw it, the 5th board, buried solid in the pocket. That would have knocked down trees if they were back there. Schlegel now needs 1 more strike to put the pressure on Holman. He has forced Holman to mark with that first strike. The second one will put the pressure on Holman, where he'd have to fill at least 19 pins in the 10th frame.
I think you'll agree it's the type of competition you would expect from the first of bowling's Triple Crown, the United States Open, here in Houston. All but the 4 for Ernie Schlegel.
What that forces Marshall Holman to get at least a 9 count to win, or a 8 count and a mark. 225 is the best Schlegel can do. Holman must get at least 9. He's checking with Harry Golden to see the official score. There's the official score. Holman comes up with this situation. Any mark wins the match. Any nine or strike on the first ball wins the match. If he gets less than 9, he must convert to spare.
Don't forget, the winner to meet Mark Roth. Well, just a powerful 16-pound bowling ball. Ernie Schlegel congratulates the Oregonian, who last week won the Forum in Grand Prairie, Texas, and now will meet Mark Roth. And currently, the 2 best bowlers on the tour will be in the finals in the United States Open. What more could you ask? We're live in Houston, Texas. Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this word from our local stations.
This ranch doesn't run without horses, and the horses don't run without you. But when you've hammered out a day's work, you meet up with Miller Time.
When it's time to relax.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
One beer stands clear.
Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
I've gotten over 100,000 miles with my Mercury Marquis, and it's all been with Quaker State oil.
Does Quaker State really help cars last?
I got this new little car to help me save gas. I'm counting on Quaker State to help me save the car. 8,000 miles already. This little engine works hard, but with Quaker State, no problems. More than 100,000 miles with regular care and Quaker State all the way.
There's a very simple reason why Quaker State is America's #1 selling motor oil. Quaker State helps cars last.
The murder trial of Gene Harris. A special report Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
At my age, some people think I should stay off the highway and stay on the fairway. But not Colonial Penn. They've specialized in car insurance for people 50 and over for years. And because I qualify, Colonial Penn will never drop me for having an accident or making a claim, guaranteed. Will your insurance company do that?
Insure the best years of your life with Colonial Penn.
Tuesday night, February 10th, at the Showboat Hotel and Casino, Mr. T, Tony Trudnich presents another night of boxing at the boat. See world champions of tomorrow in action at the Showboat's new 34,000 square foot sports pavilion. Be there Tuesday night, February 10th, for another night of top ring action with boxing at the boat.
KTNV TV Las Vegas.
There you see what has happened thus far in the United States Open. Loud winning the first game, Marshall Holman ousting him with 9 strikes, then Holman with 9 more strikes. That 248 to 225 win in the semifinal, and now Mark Roth, who has been the greatest bowler in 3 of the last 4 years, has never won a major title. Here's his chance today. Marshall Holman, 26 years old, has the Firestone Tournament of Champions to his credit. What a match live coming up. Now to help your game each week, the Rolaids Bowling Tip of the Week. Nelson Burton Jr. is a great teacher. Today it's finding your spot, finding your mark. Watch and listen.
The Pro Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
The objective of bowling is to knock down as many pins as possible. To achieve this, you must understand the principles of both accuracy and trajectory. To demonstrate these principles of bowling, we have devised an ingenious teaching device, the ordinary Venetian blind. When it is open, you can see the pins, but when it is closed, I am forced to pick a spot out on the lane for my strike ball. Theoretically, if I throw the ball over that spot, I will get a strike. Over the yellow tape. Hey, not too bad. Well, our theory works on strikes. Let's see how it works on the 10-pin.
As you can see, accuracy and control are the keys to consistency and good bowling.
We asked Roger Staubach to find out how people spell relief.
How do you spell relief?
For acid indigestion, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For heartburn, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
How do you spell relief?
For acid indigestion, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
So we hope you'll have a chance to practice what Nelson told you. Now, this is a perfect confrontation. Live from Houston, Texas, the U.S. Open Championship one-game head-to-head match. Mark Roth against Marshall Holman. Couldn't script it any better, Bo.
The two top players in the country today, and there's a saying on the tour, if you crank the ball, you go to the bank. If you stroke, you go broke. Well, they've eliminated all the strokers, and we got just two crankers left.
It's
going for the big money.
Title they want. There he goes. He's had 18 strikes in 2 games. He comes up with one in the first frame. And now a look at Mark Roth looking for his first major title. Just like that, Mark Roth feels he's at the very top of his game. Let's hear him tell us about it.
Well, this is definitely my best start, and the reason I feel is I was home during the break, and I was only bowling twice a week, and I really wasn't into the game, but when I came out back on a tour, I really wanted to bowl, and my desire is better than it ever has, and I'm concentrating and bowling better. I think that's the reason why I'm bowling well at the beginning of the winter.
That's right, he led from the start. This man, match all even after 1 frame. Now he's on the left lane.
Went over to get a piece of tape in between frames, tighten that thumb hole.
Didn't quite come up, leaving the 2.
The feel the players try to go for is where the thumb hole and the finger holes are fairly tight, and they don't have to squeeze the ball. There, Mark Roth hung the thumb a little bit, and you see the ball break late, leaving the 2-8, and the pin rolls around, knocks out the 8 pin, makes it a much easier spare.
And Mark Roth blows it, the 2 pin.
He wouldn't have got either one of them, so it didn't make any difference what stood up. Erratic Mark Roth here, just didn't take his time. Bingo, slides right by the 2, has opened the door for Holman early in the match. Marshall taking a little extra time. I don't think he's ever had a gift from Roth like that, and open their first 2 frames. Mark has definitely been tough on Marshall over the years.
All but the 10 pin on the right lane for Marshall Holman, who has won 2 games up to now.
And I know what's going through his mind, Chris. I would have carried that against anybody but Mark. Marshall with the spare will lead by 12.
All right, this is the title game for the U.S. Open Championship. 240 started. We're down to the final 2. Mark constantly working on that bowling ball.
And out of that 240, Chris, we had 96 league players, 144 touring pros.
Oh, his release so smooth. 9 strikes in each of the 2 victories coming into this. Strike in the 3rd. And now after an open, missing the 2 pin, here is Mark Roth, 3rd frame. Did not come up. Now the 2-8.
Let's see how he shoots this. He just went flying by the 2 pin last time. He has to have some bad thoughts running through his mind. He's not getting out of the thumb hole very well, and that's probably the thing that hurts good bowlers the most, an uncomfortable feel on the ball. Then again, he also missed his spare the last time he had a shot at it.
Chopping the 2 off the 8 back-to-back open frames by a great champion, Mark Roth.
Chris, major titles have avoided or eluded Mark Roth. He's dominated the tour for the last 3.5, 4 years. Once again, the U.S. Open, his first chance at a major title this year, has an extremely bad start. He trails by 23 with 2 misses, one in the 2nd and 3rd frame.
and then comes up with a high hit and a split, the 3-10.
I don't know if it's psychological or what. It has to be working on his mind. It has nothing to do with the lane conditions. It's the feel of the ball. Mark hung in the first ball he threw. He tried to change the tape. You can see this shot there for the pros. Not too tough, 310 cross lane. But Roth is struggling within himself and with his equipment.
So now 3 open frames, a 34-pin lead held by Marshall Holman, and extending his lead by just sitting there and watching Roth not at his peak thus far. This match will continue after this.
Ford has some hot news for fan buyers. No matter how you slice it, for 1981, Ford is out front again. Ford's out front design gives more turnaround room inside. Plus, unbeaten estimated MPG. And the best highway rating of them all. And Ford backs all this up with big payloads, too. Yes, when you put it all together, you get one tough van out front where it counts. Is it any wonder Ford's America's best-selling van? Come in now and check out the deals during your Ford dealer's big leadership celebration.
Walt? Walt Garrison?
Hey!
You know, since I started going smokeless, I wouldn't be without my happy days. Just a pinch between my cheek and gum gives me real tobacco pleasure, without lighting up.
Same goes for Skol with its fresh wintergreen taste. And with either one, just a pinch is all it takes.
Walt?
Mm-hmm.
How many home runs did you hit in your career?
Try going smokeless. You're gonna like it.
Big surprise here in the United States Open Championship one-game match. Marshall Holman, shooting in the 4th frame, only the 4th, has a 34-pin lead because his opponent, the great Mark Roth, has 3 opens in a row. And there's one that slid by, leading the bucket on the right lane.
Just about the same combination Roth had on the left-hand lane. Roth, the 2-8, went by it. Let's see how Holman gets it. Now, of course, Marshall has bowled more games on this pair, so he should have a feel of the pair. Here's the long approach, 17 feet. Marshall uses it all for his power approach.
He didn't think he was going to get him.
He actually got saved by the 4-pin. That's the same place that Roth hit on a 2-8 combination, but the ball hit the 2-pin, the 4-pin, then deflected into the 8. Holman, who has strike spare, would not think that'd be much of a lead in a major championship like this, but through 4 frames, he has a 34-pin lead.
Bowler with intensity. All right, his 3rd strike in 5 frames. So let's see now. Mark Roth, sometimes too long to think after 3 open frames, led off with a strike. Now shooting in the 5th frame, right lane. More like it.
The crowd was almost completely silent after Roth opened for the 3rd time in a row in the 4th frame, but he started taking a little more time, as you noticed on the approach with that one, Chris. Starts setting himself, starting using a little concentration, not bowling with just complete low momentum. He's got his thumb hole right. Look, he's taking his time now. Watch him come back.
All right, a double after 3 open frames for Mark Roth. 24-pin lead held by Marshall Holman. He has a strike up, shooting in the 6th frame. The final match live from Big Texan Lanes in Houston.
Holman just cool as he can be in this match. He just answered Roth's double with a double. Taking a little extra time. Marshall's calling for a re-rack. He's entitled to 1 a game. Wants to settle the match down, get it in perspective. He leads by 34. He can really put it on Mark Roth with 1 more strike.
And he gets that re-rack. Marshall Holman of Medford, Oregon, following our professional bowlers tour, ABC's Wide World of Sports. Oh, there is a 3-bagger that increases the lead to 44 pins, and Roth is up with a double working.
He's in a must situation early in the match. He still has 4 frames to go, but he trails by 44, has a double working.
3 in a row for Mark Roth. If you just joined us, he opened with a strike, 3 open frames, then 3 strikes in a row. Holman, I've never seen him so intense. He always has a lot of tension. He's doing exercises. He's cranking his neck. He's getting up doing half knee bends. A little psyching, maybe, against his friend, but an opponent, Mark Roth. So Roth, a four-bagger, now 24 pins, separating these two champions.
The power of Roth pulling him back into the match. Strings 4 in a row here. He has cut Holman's lead to 24, and more importantly, has given Marshall something to think about.
And another bucket. This one on the right lane. 20 pins now separating these two pros.
In the 6-pin count, the bucket cuts into the pin count lead. That is only 20 pins. Roth can now close the gap with 2 more strikes. Before, if Holman had kept his count up with an 8 or 9 pin count, Roth would have had to have 3 strikes.
Well, he's shown you twice and in 2 different ways how to cover the 2, 4, 5, 8.
Well, the pressure's starting to get to Marshall Holman. Sometimes the hardest thing in the game of bowling is to start off with a tremendous big lead like you have, and like Marshall had, and then have Roth come charging back. Still 20 pins is a big deficit. 2 frames to go. U.S. Open Championship on the line.
A 10 pin on the left lane for Marshall Holman, the leader.
Once again, Marshall loses another pin to count. If Marshall makes his spare, Roth can get up with strikes in 9th and 10th and take the lead.
Mark Roth is in the finals of a previous United States Open, 76 at Grand Prairie, Texas. It was won by Paul Mosier, and our colleague Nelson Burton Jr. won it in 78, Petraglia 77, Joe Berardi 79. Coming up high, leaving the 3-6.
And really a crucial shot to push the pressure on Holman. Roth just absolutely has not getting out of the ball well at all, Chris. His follow-through was so short that time. We'll have to ask him afterwards what the problem was, but I believe it's his thumb hole. When you lose the thumb hole feel, you don't have that smooth, even stroke and that good wrist action.
While Marshall was checking the official score sheet held by Harry Golden and Frank Esposito, Roth was marking with a spare in that foundation frame.
Chris, Mark Roth must double in the 10th to force Holman to mark. Nothing that Roth can do can shut out Holman, but if he doesn't strike here, Holman will be the winner.
And sliding by 1, 2, 4, 10.
A secondary thing that's happened today is Mark has stood by the sidelines, and these lanes are slicker or a little tighter than we've been playing on most of the season so far, and Roth cannot get that powerful hook to work at the back end.
So it's a 179 for Mark Roth. Holman is up, stroking in a hurry. It's a high hit, leaving the 3, 6, 9, 10 on the right lane.
But it's all over. Roth with a disastrous game, 179, 4 open frames. Can never recall Mark having such a poor game on national television. There has to be a reason. It's funny it happened in a major tournament. Holman opening the 10th is still secondary, has a 200 game in the U.S. Open Championship.
Five strikes, a 21-pin margin. 200 to 179 at 240. Now he's leading the cheers of the crowd here. The 26-year-old champion from Medford, Oregon, winning back-to-back championships right here on ABC.
Where can you find someone to service all the parts of your car with the know-how and equipment to check wheels, brakes, engine, suspension, almost everything? Someone who'll give you a written estimate and fix only what you want fixed. Firestone Car Service. That's where. 24,000 Firestone Car Service bays are waiting to serve you. For this week's specials, check your newspaper.
Is Gillette Foamy thick and rich enough to stop this super sports car?
No.
Is Foamy thick and rich enough to support this levitating lady?
No.
Is Foamy thick and rich enough to hold back this halfback?
No.
But if you want a clean, close shave, it's more than thick and rich enough.
Every professional bowler has an arsenal of his own, special weapons for special lane conditions. Now, you can have your own arsenal in just 2 bowling balls from AMF. The AMF 3-Dot Classic in hard rubber for normal lane conditions. And now the AMF 3-Dot Classic in soft rubber for lanes that demand more traction. Hard rubber 3-Dot, soft rubber 3-Dot. The arsenal from AMF.
All right, Marshall Holman has now won 2 major titles. He's won 2 back-to-back tournaments on our live telecast. Here's the United States Open champion, Marshall Holman.
Hey, thanks a lot, Chris. This is just super. You know, last week when I won in Grand Prairie, I said I want to make that Texas sweep, and I love Texas. This is just great. I can't believe it, you know. After last year being on the bench for those 10 weeks, now coming back, I'm in great form, and well, it's like a new life, you know. It's just a new beginning for me.
You seem more pumped up today than I've ever seen you.
Well, I am pumped up, although I've got a new strategy that I'm not... Well, I'm trying to keep my emotions a little more tame towards the start of the match. I'd like to thank Pete Couture, who's a fellow pro. He's the one who told me about that, and it really helped out a lot. It keep my emotions level, and then when I really need to make the shots, pump up for the big ones.
What can you say to the great champion you defeated here today, Mark Roth?
I can only say that I have been in the position leading the tournament by 400 or 500 pins, only to lose in the TV match. It really isn't a fair and equitable way to decide a professional bowling tournament, but it is our way, and we live with it, and Mark has to live with it. And Mark Roth is the greatest. He's my partner. I'd like to bowl all doubles tournaments with this man because he's the greatest.
All right, very well said. And Mark, while you have a chance to think about what you want to say, I know it's hard. Here's an $11,000 runner-up in the United States Open.
Well, Marshall bowled good today. He made some great shots when he needed them, and I didn't make any. I just was out to lunch today. I had trouble, but I'd like to thank the Bowling Proprietors Association of America for hosting this tournament, and I'd like to see him back next year, too.
Is that a class guy, ladies and gentlemen?
It certainly is. Mark Roth has all the class in the world, and I'd also like to ditto that and thank the bowling proprietors and everybody here in the Houston area. It's really been a memorable week, and it's one I definitely won't forget for many, many, many years.
It's one you'll remember, too, for a long time, Mark.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've never seen you 3 Opens in a row.
No, that's the first time this week.
He's kidding. Not 3 times bowler of the year in as many years. Mark, I guess you'll be going to St. Louis.
I'm going to go home for a day or 2, then go straight to St. Louis.
Well, bring Jackie. That might bring you some better luck.
I hope so.
Okay, Mark Roth, let's hear it for him. Nelson Burton Jr., come here. Nelson is a 1978 United States Open champion. And, Bo, I want you to take care of the presentation here with Mr. Lacey.
Well, Mark, congratulations. Marshall, congratulations. Mr. Lacey, you have a great tournament, and you have a great champion.
Well, thank you very much. And on behalf of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America and our 4,100 members, I would like to congratulate you and give you this check for $21,000.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lacey. I hope I can reign as a good champion for you for the next year, and like to take it down again in '82.
You know, I see Chief Wapensky over there, the executive director of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, has been for 10 years. And, Chief, you've seen a lot of winners of this championship. This is a special one.
I knew it wasn't going to be too long before Marshall won. And this trophy, which is symbolic of your victory and crowns you as our 1981 BPAA champion, is yours to display and let the people know that you're our boy for the next 12 months, and we're very happy to have you, and congratulations.
You mean it's not his to keep?
Well, at least for 12 months, and then if we can't afford to buy a new one, why, we'll take it back.
Well, you're not getting that one back, I guarantee. I got a place for that at home, and I'd really, really like to thank you very much. This is just another dream come true for me, to be back here in the winner's circle, to win the U S Open, which is definitely one of the most sought-after tournament victories. It really is a feather in my cap, and thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it.
And Marshall, being fined hasn't hurt you one bit.
What fine? I forgot all about it.
See? It's the way they do. After Opens, you come back and strike. Marshall, we'll see you next week in St. Louis. There'll be another great champion waiting there for both of you, named Dick Weber. It's his house. Maybe he'll bowl well.
Well, I'd like to see Dick bowl well. I really would. He's a great champion and one of my idols, and it's a pleasure to bowl in St. Louis at Dick Weber Lanes.
Okay, guys, it was like having Watson and Nicklaus in golf on our live telecast from Houston. I have nothing but great respect for both of you. Thanks for being on.
Thank you very much.
Mark Roth and Marshall Holman. Once again, the winner is Marshall Holman. 200 to 179 and the $131,000 Bowling Proprietors Association, the United States Open. Today's program was produced by Kurt Gowdy Jr., directed by Larry Cavallina. Our technical director, Bob Bernthal. Our associate director, Kathy Cook. Now this is Chris Schenkel, along with former Open winner Nelson Burton Jr., saying so long from big Houston, Texas. Be sure to stay tuned for ABC's Wide World of Sports featuring the United States National Figure Skating Championships from San Diego, California. You'll see the ladies in the finals, along with dance competition. And for the first time as a regular, joining our ABC announcing team, beautiful Peggy Fleming, whom I had the pleasure of going to Peking, China with to do skating. And then also in the same show, a report on the Muhammad Ali professional sports scandal. And Harold Smith, more important, is a man who is being accused, and no better investigative reporter than Howard Cosell will be there to cover this as ABC keeps you up to date on all the late happenings in the world of sports. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what Friendly Skies are all about.